My full name is Najat Maalla, and I am the Special Representative of the UN Secretary General on violence against children. And my mandate is really dedicated to really ensure that ending all forms of violence against children are really taken into account and addressed, within all the countries. Since 2019, I am also sharing the UN Task Force on Children Deprived of Liberty, following the global study on children deprived of liberty. And violence is an umbrella definition, include all forms of violence. It could be sexual, emotional, physical, but also it could be exploitation, it could be child marriage, it could be deprivation of liberty, torture, trafficking. It's wide. And in the same time, my mandate is really having this role of advocacy, mobilizing, keeping the momentum, and following, and playing a role as a bridge between all the key stakeholders, because you have a lot of key stakeholders, not only at international level, but also at regional and national level. I am a strong child rights activist. I founded in my country, Morocco, 25 years ago, the first Moroccan program, for children on street situation, children, deprived of family care, children victims of violence. And I was working, on street, on hospital, in jail, on so on. So this is on my DNA. And I realized during all these years that we need really to have this cross-sectoral and systemic approach, because you have a society that is becoming more and more violent, more and more excluded. And working with children alone is not enough. You need to work within and with the society to make the society more inclusive, more peaceful. And this is challenging. I learned a lot from children. I learned from their resilience. I learned from their courage. I was arrested many times, so I learned a lot. And I want really to take this opportunity to tell to all these children worldwide I worked with since many, many years, many thanks for the wonderful lessons they provide to me. When you saw these children, even in conflicted areas, in camps, in refugees, as refugees and so on, they are still strong, having this resilience, and still, advocating for peace and having so wonderful initiative on peaceful. So my really suggestion is just we need to listen to them and to give them more power and to see them as really, really, really actors of change and part of solution. Security for me is not security of countries, it's security of human beings, and mostly, the most vulnerable children, youth, and women. I think what makes the Halving Global Violence Task Force unique, because it's really based on just what I just was highlighting. It is a multi-stakeholder, coalition from academics, from civil society, from experts, from various, key stakeholders. Next year, we will have the flagship report that will help also policymakers really to have a kind of roadmap, how we can deal with, in ending and preventing violence while the clock is ticking, because as I told, less than 7 years remain to achieve our promise and to keep our promise, peaceful, inclusive, safe society. We need to act better, faster, together. We need also to be more and more accountable. This is really important. And I want just to remind also that the SDG 16 for me is a cross-pillar SDGs, and it's really important because it's about rule of law, but it's about justice, not only penal, civil, and administrative, but also social justice. It's about ending violence, ending deprivation of liberty. It's about ending corruption. It's about transparency. It's about participation and inclusion. I think we know the risk factors, we know the political factors, we know the climate factors, we know the socio-economic and cultural factors. We know that almost half, of the world children are really victims of violence, and it's increasing by COVID, by wars, by financial crisis, and it will increase. And we know that more and more children are excluded. So if you want to build peace, it's important to work on development that is inclusive, on education that is safe, on social norms, on health, on justice, and on social protection, and to make sure also to change the mindset, because you know what, it's appearing that we have more and more societal tolerance to violence. It's become normal. This is really, really important to have this strong mobilization to tell enough is enough. I think it's good to have a day, you know, when you have, you know, you highlight the issues, because to be very frank, the world is not going very well. If it's not war, it's climate, it's natural disaster, it's a financial crisis, and so on. So I think what is important to have a day, an international day of peace, is really to have a zoom on what is going on. If I have something to tell, even it's one day, what it's important, you know, you cannot build a culture of lawfulness. You cannot build a culture of peace. You cannot build a culture of non-bullying, of acceptance, of tolerance, of all this, if you are not doing it each day. It has to become, you know, in our daily life. This is very important. One day is good, but what is important is one moment where we are collecting momentum, but we need to ensure the follow-up about all this commitment, all what we are doing as UN is really important to keep the momentum and to really not resign. This is very not to not give up.